Hi Chem 111 students. I wanted to give you guys an example of a particularly challenging Hess's law problem, and this one's great because it shows that sometimes you have to do multiple transformations to a partial equation before it matches what you need. So given the following partial reactions, 1, 2, and 3, we're going to try and get to this overall reaction so we can calculate its heat of reaction. So we're going to start by comparing each of these one by one to our overall process to see what we need to do. So if we take a look at equation 1 here, we've got the ammonia we need, the NH3, but it's a product here and a reactant here, so we know we need to flip it first. Then to make the stoichiometry match, we've got 2 in the partial, 1 in the overall. We need to multiply this whole thing by 1/2. And that's going to cause us to multiply delta H1 by -1/2 to account for the flip and the stoichiometry. If we look at 2, partial equation 2 has the HCl we need. It's also a product, so we'll need to flip this one as well. And we need to account for the stoichiometry. 2 versus 1, we're also going to multiply 2 by 1/2. So flip, multiply by 1/2. We're going to take -1/2 of that delta H2 when we calculate our heat of reaction. Lastly, let's look at partial equation 3. Our NH4Cl is in our product right where we need it. We do not need to flip this one, but we do need to adjust the stoichiometry. We've got 2 versus 1, so we're also going to multiply 3 by 1/2. So we're going to use 1/2 of our delta H3 when we calculate the energy. Let's double check our work. So we've got our overall equation here. Now we're going to do those transformations to the partial equations and make sure they add up. NH3 to 1/2 N2 to 3/2 H2. That's applying that 1/2 and that flip. HCl becoming 1/2 H2 plus 1/2 Cl2. Again, flip and multiply by 1/2. And this third one we did not need to flip, we just multiplied it by 1/2. 1/2 N2 plus 2H2 plus 1/2 Cl2 becomes NH4Cl. So now we need to figure out what's going to cancel. Things that appear on both sides of the arrows will cancel out. So that means our 1/2 N2 disappears. Our H2s also disappear because 1/2 plus 3/2 equals 2, so that cancels. And our 1/2 Cl2 is going to cancel as well. That means that what's left behind adds up to NH3 plus HCl becomes NH4Cl, which is our overall equation. We're good to go. Let's do our number crunching. We're going to do that -1/2 times -92 plus a -1/2 times -185 plus 1/2 times -629. So these are those delta H1, delta H2, delta H3 values. That means that we're going to get 46 plus 92 minus 314, giving us a final answer of minus 176 kilojoules. So there you go. Just remember, sometimes you have to flip and multiply things. Just keep track of what you're doing to each equation so you know how you have to crunch your numbers. I'll see you guys in class.